A long time ago, during the reign of Earl Håkon, there was a guy from Jæren named Erik the Red. Erik had a bit of a problem with not killing people. He accidentally, or not so accidentally, killed someone in Norway and had to flee to Iceland. Once there, surprise, surprise, he did it again. Iceland was like, "Okay, that's enough, you're out," and banished him. But Erik had heard of this mysterious land far to the west, where a dude named Gunnbjorn had once been blown by a storm. So Erik was like, sounds like a good place to not get kicked out of, and set off to find it. He brought his buddy Herjulf Bardsson, and in 984 they found the land. Erik hyped it up so much when he came back that he called it Greenland to make it sound like paradise, even though it was mostly ice. Classic real estate marketing. People actually believed him and followed him back to settle there. Meanwhile, Erik's son, Leif Erikson, decided to visit Norway in 999. There, he met King Olaf Tryggvason, got converted to Christianity, peer pressure, and was sent back to Greenland with some priests to spread the new faith. Enter Bjarn Herjulfsson, Herjulf's son. He was sailing to Greenland to find his dad, but got completely lost in a storm and saw some new lands. Instead of stopping to explore, he just peeked and turned around like a true tourist afraid of commitment. Everyone mocked him. "You saw new lands and didn't even stop for snacks?" Leif bought Bjarn's ship and said, "Hold my mead," then set out in the year 1000 with 35 men to explore. First they found a rocky land full of giant icebergs and named it Helleland, basically slab rock land. Then they found a forested land and called it Markland, Woodsville. Finally they landed somewhere nice, rivers, lakes and actual grapes. A German guy named Turka wandered off and came back yelling about grapes like he had just won the lottery. They called it Vinland, Wineland, and spent the winter chilling and gathering grapes. Then they sailed back to Greenland. In 2002, Leif's brother Thorvald was like, "I want a turn." He sailed to Vinland with 30 men and stayed in Leif's old houses. Everything was fine until he tried to explore and ran into the locals, Skrælings. They weren't thrilled. Thorvald managed to survive for a bit, even named a place Keelness after his broken ship, but eventually got hit by an arrow and died. Bummer. His crew buried him in his favorite spot and went home. Then in 1006, another Icelander, Thorfinn Karlsefne, came to Greenland and married Gudrid, Leif's sister-in-law. She was like, "Let's go to Vinland and start a colony." So in 1007, off they went with 160 people, some cows, and probably a lot of fish. Gudrid even gave birth to a baby named Snorri, the first Viking baby born in America. At first, they traded with the Skrælings, giving them cheese and cloth in exchange for animal skins. But when they refused to hand over weapons, the Skrælings got grumpy and attacked a lot. The Vikings eventually had enough and went home after 3 years. But wait, there's more Viking drama. Erik the Red A.'s illegitimate daughter Freydis, who had main character energy and maybe anger issues, set out on her own trip with her husband and 2 Norwegian guys. They started fighting, and Freydis basically went full Viking and had a bunch of people murdered. She was, let's just say, not a team player. The survivors ran back to Greenland in 1013. Meanwhile, Thorfinn Karlsefne took his Vinland goodies to Norway and sold them for a nice profit. He later moved to Iceland, bought land, and his son Snorre became a big deal because, after all, he was literally born in Viking America.